What's going on, everybody? My name is Albert and I'm from basketballtraders.store. Today, we're going to be talking about why I think that Pokemon investing is here to stay. And before I get started, I know that a lot of us out there, a lot of you guys watching my videos, investors, right, have been told over and over and over again that investing in shiny cardboard is not the play. It is not the move. That we are adults to go get a job, to go make our own money, which most of us do. But today I'm going to tell you why investing in shiny cardboard has actually made a significant amount of money for people in the past century. Yeah, you heard that right. Century. Now, in order to really get into this, we got to go back to the 1880s. Yeah, you heard it right. The 1880s is where everything started. From the 1880s to the 1950s, sports cards were actually introduced in bubblegum packs and tobacco products as well. And who brought out the demand for this? Kids did. Children did. Children loved to collect these cards, play with them outside, and that's literally the introduction of card collecting that we can go back to as far from, right? Now, there was a huge significant market change in the 1950s because, well, manufacturers started realizing that there's a huge market for collectibles specifically in the card market, right? So what they started doing is that they actually made the cards better. Before then, the cards were only black and white. Now they started to be printed in color. A lot of them actually started to print out a lot more cards. So production actually went up significantly. And what happened then? Well, it wasn't just a niche in the regional area anymore. Collecting sports cards was a huge thing. Now, as we move forward, we can see that in the 1980s is actually when these cards started to gain a lot more value, right? And these kids that were kids in the 1950s and before then were now adults in their 30s and their 40s. And what did they decide to do? Well, they started to collect these cards, to invest into them, which brought up the price. So what did manufacturers do in order to combat this? The demand was growing for sports cards, so they started printing a crazy amount. Doesn't that sound kind of familiar? Yeah, they started printing a lot. They started printing, I think, around 80 billion cards in the 1980s. This was called the junk wax era, which translates to all these cards that basically were worth nothing because there were so many of them. So this actually drove sports cards markets completely down. So even though they were getting more products out there, it was actually just helping the businesses themselves, but not the investor side at all. Which, honestly, guys, businesses didn't care. But the investors had to focus on something else then, right? It actually took quite a while from the junk wax era for sports cards to start being profitable again. Even now, we look at sports cards as a means of a profit. Every single year, your average return is still 15%, with 28% being just 2025 alone. So sports cards in general are still an insanely profitable market that are going up in value as well. So the thing that you guys have to remember is that Pokemon isn't that different, right? So Pokemon has, obviously it's not sports, guys. We're not watching Pokemon battle in real life. But the thing is, it still has that same exact appeal. It still has the appeal of collecting. It still has the appeal of scarcity. It still has the appeal of value. And it still has the huge commotion that makes it even rise up and rise up and rise up each year. Not to mention, we're now in the technology age, guys. Before, imagine how quickly sports cards grew. I mean, they didn't grow an insane amount of quickness, right? It took them a while. It took them years to actually gain some monetary value and start to see a steady increase. Guys, we live in technology now. If somebody sees somebody else make money off of something, they're going to see it right away. And then it's going to create that domino effect that's going to lead everybody else into starting to invest into these things, right? Which this wealth gap that we're also getting to, this also goes into our economic value, right? So our economic system right now, the gap between the wealthy and the poor is getting so high that we're not going to see these Pokemon cards drop an insane amount of value, because now we don't have just the regular people just investing into this. We have the wealthy people. We have the institutional investors investing into this. We have Logan Paul's illustrator that just went for over $15 million. Guys, average person obviously cannot afford expensive Pokemon cards like this, but they're still being bought. Why are they still being bought? Well, because we're witnessing literally a generation of wealth pass on their wealth to their next generation. And who is the next generation? Well, it's millennials and it's Generation Z. And what are they spending their money on right now? Guys, in just 2025, the average Pokemon card has increased 46%. 46% for the average Pokemon card. Where do I think that this is going? I see Pokemon investing, well, reaching out into the norm now. Everyone has access to see the amount of value that Pokemon cards actually bring in. And we are seeing the new generation spend their money where they want to spend their money. And apparently it's on nostalgia and collecting. So whenever we look into that, I do think that Pokemon investing is going to keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger and growing and growing and growing. But I do also think that it's going to stabilize. Guys, I just explained to you what the junk wax era was in sports cars. We're about to see the same exact thing. Well, maybe not the same exact thing, but we're about to see the same strategy from the Pokemon company to meet demands. They're about to open up printing facilities that are just going to start printing cards like crazy. I mean, these facilities aren't going to be up until 2027, 2028, but we have to start focusing on certain products now. We can't just go after everything. And yeah, maybe, everything does eventually go up in price, but we have to focus on products that are not going to be printed when our junk wax area comes about, and we have to focus on products that no one else is focusing on right now. Don't look at the new shiny stuff. Look at the things that go based on numbers. If a product isn't being printed that much, or if there is no demand, right now we're very supplied. So Pokemon is having trouble just keeping up with the newer products. Start focusing on some of the older products. That's kind of what I would do if I was you. But guys, I do think that Pokemon investing is here to stay. I think that it's going to keep getting bigger. And I'm going to keep bringing you guys more ways to make this hobby financially good for you. Right now is a critical stage because the future is changing. And we can't just rely on, hey, let's buy everything Pokemon, because I don't think that's going to work for much longer. But I think that's going to do it. Thanks, guys, for coming to my TED Talk. If you do like what I have to say and you've been following some of my videos and you're interested, please go subscribe. A lot of my videos don't get put out into the algorithm, so subscribing does mean a great deal to me. But other than that, I will see y'all in the next one. Bye.